Gee, visiting the most drug addicted city in America.
What does your first hit of meth feel like?
Superman.
Now we are seeing students as young as first grade who have had drug issues.
So what percent of guys that are slaying you think waste their
Okay.
Online it says that Omaha is the most drug addicted city in America. Does that surprise you?
The United States of America is facing a massive drug crisis. In 2021, over 106,000 people died from drug overdoses. This is up 14% from 2020. The main culprit in this story is fentanyl.
Next to the fentanyl crisis wreaking havoc in communities across the country, overdoses, drug seizures, and concerns continue to grow from coast to coast.
The victim can be seen buying the fentanyl and then walking over to the front door of the gas station before collapsing.
A snapshot of America's fentanyl crisis. An average of one person every 10 hours
What
dies
the
in the city
heck?
of a fentanyl overdose.
A lot more people are dying, and it's in a lot of the drug supply, and people are doing it without knowing they're doing it.
Fentanyl was created in 1959 by Dr.
don't know,
Paul
bro.
Janssen to be a more efficient alternative to morphine, and it's used in hospitals to help with surgeries and pain management. Due to its potency and how cheap it is to produce, drug dealers cut their products with fentanyl to stretch it and make it stronger. The journey of fentanyl to the United States is as follows. Much of it is created in China and India, and it's sold to Mexican criminal organizations like the Sinaloa cartel. It's then smuggled across the border, and it's been flooding the American streets. Today, we visit the most drug-addicted city in America, Omaha, Nebraska, top in the nation for meth, cocaine, marijuana, and heroin. We speak with addicts, people in recovery, drug dealers, and law enforcement. Let's hit the streets.
Omaha. Not bad. Dang, this is the movie, Tommy G. I'll be watching.
First, we stopped
I'll be
at
watching other
University of
people watch
Nebraska,
him.
Omaha, to speak with Coalition RX, a nonprofit dedicated to reducing drug use.
Ladies and gentlemen.
I mean,
Gary?
I'm not happy that
Nice to
he
meet you
has
too.
to make this. I mean, not has to, but
We're seeing big pharma on the streets, and we're seeing a lot of drugs, mainly fentanyl. And the bad thing about fentanyl
can't
is
find my water
just
bottle.
little grams to kill you.
You look at a drug dealer like a business operation. What's in it for them to lace things with fentanyl?
It's cheap, and it gives you a good kick of high.
It's one of the most dangerous drugs we've ever seen.
How is fentanyl getting into this country? Does anyone know the source?
where's my
where it comes
water
from, how
bottle?
it gets
Hold
here?
on.
The drugs are being manufactured in China, and they're being sold to the groups like Sinaloa in Mexico, and then trafficking it across the border.
Federal agents found 300,000 fentanyl pills.
300. Bow wow.
Powder. Authorities say the SUV has crossed the U.S.-Mexico border multiple times.
Now we are seeing students as young
I'm
as
bugging.
first
I swear I
grade
put my water
who
bottles.
have had drug issues. Oh, big pharma, in my mind, they are
Not that
the
sound.
people that needed to be held accountable. They've been getting off scot-free, if you ask me.
My son passed away when he was 18
No.
from an accidental oxycodone
I found it.
overdose right here on this campus, actually. He had just finished his freshman year on a full academic scholarship here, and from what I can tell, he was experimenting with drugs, I believe because of some stress he was under with grades and different things.
No.
And he went to sleep one night after getting some oxycodone from another student, and he didn't wake up that morning.
If we meet a drug dealer today that bolsters his business with fentanyl, what would be your message to that drug
can't.
dealer? What would you
I
like to say?
can't.
Well, I want them to think about their own child or their niece or nephew or the kid next door. Would they want that kid's life to end because of what they're doing to make a buck? They're killing people's kids.
Addiction is giving up everything
wanna go
for one thing.
in
but
time
recovery
as
is
Matt
giving
person
up one
who
thing for
drugs
everything.
are.
How many people in this room has either had a family member or know of someone that is
What do you mean?
overdosed in their
That was good.
Yeah.
Since there's fentanyl in a lot of things,
That was-
you
that
can
was-
carry naloxone. So what you do is you put it into your nasal cavity. I don't have the test.
I
and
put
then
this up their nose.
you put this part, and
That
then
part.
you just push down, and it will spray.
Corporal Crane
But,
was equipped with
yeah.
nasal spray Narcan, a prescription medicine.
Here's the thing. It's like crazy. You you, I don't know. It's like a everybody, everyone that if somebody doesn't, somebody will, like, type of thing. So boom, you smack the person that did make the first, maybe, I don't know how this works, because in realistic, I think the drugs are the medicine. They kind of low key just been, they take it more, and it's boom, it's been turned into like a drug because you feel good on it and whatnot, because you taken like a several or something, or yeah, like, and all the drugs are like mostly like medical type things, but it's kind of turned into like bad type things. You feel me? Like, there's a such thing as medical weed and all the, do you think people would commit without drugs? Like, commit crime without drugs? What do you mean by commit?
That rapidly reverses the effects of an overdose.
Thanks, you guys.
Take care.
Next,
more
we had to
people.
speak to a former drug dealer that can give us insights on how narcotics are moving through this area.
So we're heading to a trap house in Omaha. Talk to a
Wait, do you
dealer,
think more
get inside
people
their
would
head.
die
Tell me about
without
the drug
drugs?
scene in Omaha.
It's pretty active right now. I mean, when you hit us up saying that there's an epidemic.
Oh, because it's like
honestly,
medical.
that's myself, I was like, well, shit, the drugs are
I
overdose.
think
One of the big
so.
things right now is overdoses.
Does that make you nervous being
Possibly,
It's
yeah.
making me a little nervous, not gonna lie, because nobody really knows, understands what they're doing nowadays, you know what I mean?
What do you view as the impact of
Sorry, but it's like, if they don't use this certain type of drug that maybe like calms them down, it numbs the pain. It's like anything can kind of be used as a drug nowadays if you take enough of it, or like the right type of, you feel me? And then it's like, you feel, I don't know, how do I say this? Wait, one, are you saying? I thought you were saying if. Sorry. If do you think people will die if the hospitals stop using drugs, type of thing? Maybe. Or if you're saying, do you think less people will die if they stop using drugs? More because people do drugs because of depression. Commit without drugs. Because do you think people commit on drugs more? That's what you're saying, probably. And I think so, for sure. It's crazy. I always say it's crazy, but it's drugs, depression, and you could be going through things like what people commit more because most people do drugs because of depression. Probably so. Because that's what there's like, of course, causes. There's people look at the main things. Like, the main things is depression, for sure. That's probably maybe the top one, maybe. Second is like closest is drugs. That's probably, it's like you go to the drugs because you are depressed or whatnot. I mean, sometimes not really. It's just maybe stress, or of course, it just feels good and you're just like, it's nice. You're kind of addicted to it in a way. but it just depends. Everyone's different, of course. So yeah, not, but you don't know, sometimes, of course, nobody just commits their own life because they're on drugs. Not a lot of people for sure do that, and I hope not.
Fentanyl coming into the game.
It's honestly a travesty because it just kills people.
So what percent of guys that are slaying you think lace their shit?
I just assume everybody, because at the end of the day, when they get it, they themselves sometimes don't.
Sorry, I kind of don't make no sense. Like,
Tell me
it's
about
kind of hard to
journey
talk.
of how drugs get to America and how Omaha is a central point of that.
The way I understand it is just because we're on I-80, Interstate 80, everything gotta come and go through here at some point in time. That's why, like, Nebraska, they call it the gauntlet, because we make so many drug busts on the interstate.
Have you ever felt bad for a customer?
At the end of the day, people are grown. It's their own responsibility to handle their shit, you know what I'm saying? You gotta do the drugs, not let the drugs do you, whatever it is you're doing.
What made you decide to get into the game?
I did it out of necessity, like out of survival, because I lost my job, a lot of different things were going on, I got in trouble with the law, and I was just trying to figure myself out.
And what kind of...
Wait, I just noticed something. So I've been watching Tommy G's videos, like watching other people watch it. This is probably the first time I like she typed them in and we were watching it him ourselves. Do you think police watched this one day and or all the other videos that gang or drug, like, okay, because this is it, right? This is a guy that sells the drugs that, you know, people get from, and they typically were hearing people collapsing and whatnot. So, like, he could be the one of them or a victim, and he's right there on the video. I mean, and Tommy G is the one. I know he gives people the shiesty and shades and whatnot, the mask. So it's like, of course, they don't want to be on camera. So it's like he's a nice person to do that. But then again, is he in the wrong to be like, you know, like not tell this to the police? I'm not trying to be like on, I don't know. It's like kind of like confusing to me. But like, it's none of my business. That's what I'm gonna say at the end of the day. Because word. So it's like literally, it's like wait a minute. That is kind of like could be like a possible criminal, not to call him a criminal, but still, he's giving drugs. And did he just say something about busting, as in like a drive-by, like someone driving on, and then you know, hijack? I don't know. I heard something about that. Look, I don't, you know, I'm not on anyone's side. I'm not gonna lie. But then again, at the end of the day, all we can say, this is good content. But then, and again, it's not just because I'm not all about the content. I'm sad for the people that, you know, of course, lost their lives over the joint. And this is a learning opportunity, of course. So, I mean, to not do drugs, pretty much, boom. Please don't do drugs.
Things went down in this house that we're at.
This place, man, everything used to go down here. Literally everything. Meth, coke, crack, weed, everything. Like, I got out in 2019, but I went away before it ever even got raided.
What was your childhood like?
Raided?
Do your parents know what you've been up to?
Do they know everything? No, but my mom, I love my mom, so she has an idea.
Does it surprise you to hear that Omaha is the most drug-addicted city in the country?
It kind of does.
Big Pharma, what role do you think they play in this whole game?
I think they play a big role in it. Because a lot of the stuff that people are exposed to wasn't around before then.
If you came face to face with a mother of someone that had died from drug overdose, what would you say to her?
Sorry for your loss. I mean, the person makes their own choice at the end of the day. Nobody forced them to do that. I feel sorry for them.
Is there like a code on the streets, like most dealers won't deal to kids, or do you know of any guys that'll sell to a 5th grader or a 6th grader?
I think if anybody got the money, anybody gonna serve it. I'm gonna be honest with you.
If you could retire from this profession, what would you get into?
I'd like to do what you're doing.
That is kind of crazy. Okay.
Next, we head to a part.
Sorry to be that person, but now I probably would have been like, okay, now you have kids, and there's probably many times you're like, don't do drugs, bro. I mean, of course, but kids are kids, or as they grow up to teens, they experiment, they explore, they get curious, and then boom, they just find some other person like, ooh, let me try these drugs. I'm a little depressed, or I just want to try them out. Or my friend was like, bro, it'll be fine. Just like, man, shoot, I ain't know. You feel me? They try to be tough. And things happen. You lose your child. So, like, are you then gonna say to yourself in the mirror, sorry for your loss? Or are you gonna, like, pack it up? You feel me? Like, what am I doing? Flush it. Throw it in those, like, type of thing. Or you just gonna keep continuing? That's what I wonder.
Drug addicts and homeless people are living in tents on the street to get their story and hear what their life is like.
Omaha is known as the most drug addicted city in America.
It is. I'm with the outreach program. I'm a psychologist. Fentanyl is the worst thing in the world. They used it when they put you under to do surgery. They quit using it. Well, it disappeared off the docks. They went to Mexico. It comes back to the United States. They stomp on it. What stomping means, they mix it with other things. Young cats like you get it.
What can you tell us about life here?
Difficult, hot, resources are slim.
Do you survive out here all day?
Yeah, I'm here 24/7.
What gets someone to a point that they're willing to be outside in a tent in 90-degree heat?
To get away. Sometimes it's better to be out here than it is to be in an abusive situation. And guess what? It could happen to you two guys too.
What's the drug that's running through Omaha right now?
Meth, crack, there's some cocaine and weed. Pretty much anything you want to find.
Doggy.
Right here.
I got out of the situation that I was in and ran out of funds, so I got stuck
Oh, at least I'm so happy the dog's eating. He looks good and fat.
here until I can get enough funds up to be able to get into a place.
People aren't bad. They've had a bad situation, but sometimes the system doesn't allow that.
What could the system change, or what could be better about the system?
Other psychologists, psychiatrists, outreach programs, hospitals where they can take their medication, etc., etc. They can live a normal life.
This is kind of the Skid Row of Omaha, I would say.
Hell yeah, this the bottom. I can't get my fucking ID. They fucking with me. They keep talking about they care about the people that's homeless. They don't want you to put your tents up nowhere. Why the fuck we can't put our tents up nowhere and y'all not trying to help?
Well, look, him. I get what you're saying, but it's like, you know, things happen like boom and then like boom, and then you don't really lose it like that unless you know, you do something about it. So it's like they weren't homeless beforehand and they got that way, and then it's like, so it's like, you feel me? And word.
Help us.
I had suspicions about this guy, so I called the Sienna Francis house to see if he worked there. They said he was not a psychiatrist on staff. He was a patient. Today we meet John, a former addict helping other people on the path to recovery outside the Sienna Francis house. which is a place leading the charge in helping the homeless, but also one of the highly concentrated areas of drug addicts in the city. It's a sketchy place that plays a central role in this story.
The most drug-addicted city in America is arguably Omaha, Nebraska. Does that surprise you to hear?
That's the first time I've heard that. I know it's bad here, the fentanyl epidemic, the opioid crisis. I know it's known for the methamphetamine use, but yeah, it's getting worse and worse.
So I've got a for-profit counseling agency, Halo Counseling Center. I've been doing that for about the last 8 years, started that in 2015. So we do a lot of work with like the criminal justice system. Most of our referrals come from probations, drug courts, veterans courts, things like that. It's insane. I mean, our business just continues to grow. I started off with just me, myself, and I, and now we're up to 8 counselors, 5 offices, and we still can't keep up.
What got you into this?
So I got my own history. In 2006, I was out on the streets smoking meth. I was involved in a raid September 11, 2006, and was arrested, charged with conspiracy to distribute 500 grams of meth. So I was just with the guy that was doing it, basically.
September 11th is crazy. I'm just saying.
I was his right-hand man, so...
That's where it started for me, where my sobriety got started, was that treatment facility right there. Used to be a lot of tents out here. If we end up walking down farther that way, you'll see a lot of tents and everything where the people choose not to go into the shelter. You know, they're either not ready yet or it's just not for them.
How did you become sober?
I got arrested, which is my sober date, August 26th of 2020, and arrested for methamphetamine. I went to jail for 6 months, and I've been battling drug addiction for probably the last 10 years. And so I was arrested, sat in jail for 6 months. I came over here. I was here for 7 months, and then went to the halfway house, and then just been trying to get my life back together slowly but surely.
It seems like jail is a lot of people's sober day.
Yeah, absolutely. Some sort of higher power, man, that gave me the option to do a program that we offer here, and if I graduate that program, I get the felony removed from my records.
Once I got into jail, it was almost a sense of relief because I had attempted sobriety, you know, some feeble attempts, didn't really reach out to get any real help. Then when I was charged federally, then it just became a fear factor. Once you see the United States of America versus John Sapensky, that tends to tighten some things up in the old body there.
What does your first hit of meth feel like?
Superman, euphoria, energy. I was at work, I was mowing lawns, and I had a hangover from the night before, and my boss was like, dude, what's wrong? What's going on, man? Usually, you know, you're doing a good job at work. Man, I got a hangover, I feel like crap, you know, whatever. He's like, go talk to my brother. So I went and talked to the brother. He pulls out a bag of meth, took a big
What
old
the heck?
snort, and I'm mowing lawns like nobody's business. I'm running around with a weed eater and just tearing people's lawns apart. It was glorious.
So it started out pretty innocent.
Yeah, within weeks, I'm staying up for days on end. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to work at 6. I need to get more dope. Can't find any more dope. Can't go to work, and the cycle began.
My first experience with it was I was using marijuana at the time, and my friend came over, and I took a hit of meth, and it really didn't do anything for me then. I don't know if it was because I was already prescribed amphetamines, legal amphetamines. And then years down the road, after I got into some trouble in a different city, I was on probation, and I was kind of trying to be clean, and a girl said to me that I was seeing at the time, she said, well, this will make sex better.
Whoa.
Why not?
How'd you find your way here? What's your story?
I got in trouble with the law. I was addicted to meth for like 13 years.
What was your first introduction into meth? How'd you start that?
When I was 16 years old, I used to drink a lot with my friends and stuff, and I got introduced to it one night. It was like something to stay awake, to party more, and then it became like an everyday thing. I went to jail.
How long did you serve?
It will make what better?
Road to sobriety?
If I would have got out and just
Sex
went back on the streets,
better.
I'd be back on drugs right now.
What should the punishment be for a dealer that's selling people meth?
Definitely jail time.
What was the low point of your meth journey?
It will make
I lost custody of me,
sex
girls. I lost
better.
I'm facing like 17 years in prison right now. If you're struggling with drug addiction, you got to find your higher power. You got to believe in something higher than you. If you need help, it's always nice to reach out to somebody that you love and tell them the problems you're going through.
Our next stop is talking to drug dealer Shakedown, who is currently facing federal time for her narcotics operation. We wanted to talk to someone that had hands-on experience with fentanyl. Here's what we learned.
How would you describe yourself?
Just trying to get $1, take care of my people.
So what are you currently up against right now?
facing about 9 to 10 years. Manufacturing methamphetamine, fentanyl, cocaine. I've spent 5 years already in prison. You know, I mean, this is federal time, so it's gonna be different.
Do you think there's any shot at beating the case, or what are you looking at?
No, I don't think so. It's nothing that's gonna stop me from going to prison for some time. I ain't start, really hustling, like selling narcotics and whatnot until 3 years ago, 4 years ago. Before that, I was hitting licks, like robbing people, going to people's cars, going to people's houses, doing what I could to just stay afloat. I was introduced to selling drugs, and I was like, damn, I ain't gotta beat nobody up no more. I ain't gotta do all this. You know what I mean? I ain't gotta do all this, put my life at risk, put your life at risk. You know what I mean? You put people through that, you put people's kids through that.
Have you ever felt bad for a customer?
Before I ever started selling fentanyl, I lost my girlfriend. My girlfriend before this, I didn't give a I was like, if I'm gonna lose somebody, y'all gonna lose somebody. I kind of like numbed up after a while, like.
What are the drugs that are going through Omaha right now? Like, what are the biggest drugs that people are selling?
Fentanyl super heavy right now. They don't even want heroin no more. Fentanyl is synthetic heroin. That's what they're going for. They want that shit immediately.
What was your childhood like?
I was in the system. I was locked up. Like, I've been locked up since I was 14.
What were you booked for?
What?
Distributing and conspiring to confederate methamphetamine, fentanyl, and cocaine over 400, but less than 700 grams.
How much money does all that cost?
That'd be like 50,000.
And then what can you flip that into?
You get 50,000 straight up, but you ain't find people, you gonna flip that to 150,000 easy.
The first hit of fentanyl, what is that like?
If you are constantly a person that deals with trauma and traumatic situations.
150. Oh, wow.
Do you think most drug users and even drug sellers are running away from trauma, and drugs are kind of the way to like patch up the pain?
Hell yeah. I feel like it's never the drugs, it's the experiences that you've been through that made you, gravitate to that.
Earlier this morning, we met with the mom of a kid who overdosed, and it's just her son's death has impacted the whole family. It has a trickle effect. What would you say to the parents of people that have overdosed?
I've been through it, so it's like I don't, people make their own choices, and you just gotta stop them from making those choices, not by telling them what to do.
What's the youngest person you would say that has come to buy drugs from you?
13, 14.
What does it cost for a serving of fentanyl?
If you buy it in bulk, I can get it for $1.25.
And what do you sell it for?
$30.
I wish you the best.
I appreciate you.
Tell me a little bit about your story.
Well, I was living out in Omaha, and the Perk 30s were really huge, and that's how I started using,
I've heard that in rap songs.
Yep.
Perk 10, I just popped that Perk 10. Perk 30, I just popped that Perk 30.
Everyone talks about the Perk 30s. They glamorize using the Perk 30s, getting fucked up on the Perk 30s, but honestly, laced with fentanyl, super addictive. A lot of it is the chemical dependency in your body. It's not so much you wanting to get high anymore, it's your body physically needs it. My drug addiction really took everything from me. The number one thing on my mind all the time was getting high and using.
How long have you been clean for?
I've been clean for 70 days.
What is your plan to make sure you don't fall back?
Those withdrawals, man, when I went through withdrawals and treatment, it felt like I was on my deathbed, couldn't sleep, I couldn't eat, I was throwing up, and that's the reason why I feel like I can't go back, is just because I know the hold that it'll have on my life. I was spending $500 a week on my drug habit.
What was rock bottom for you?
I was
500 a week
staying in someone else's house with no money, selling my own things on Facebook.
Crazy.
So that way I had money to get high. Even then, I was maybe using one time a day, and I was still really sick. Addiction doesn't discriminate, People think that
I don't
it's
even
only
make my
low-class people who get
500 a
addicted to
week.
drugs, but honestly, anyone can get addicted to drugs. I was very fortunate growing up. When I was finally on my own, I met a man who kind of veered my life in a different direction, and I chose to take that path.
I can't imagine what it's like doing your job in this area. What is it like?
You get used to it. I mean, that's what you signed up for, right?
What would you do to help a
Is
city
that
like
police?
this?
I really don't have an answer for you.
I guess you can either invest money into the incarceration side, or you can invest money into the rehabilitation side.
So you got to go for rehabilitation, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you want to help people as best you can. You don't want to incarcerate them for life.
What percent of the calls you would say you have to answer to are drug related?
Probably more than half.
We appreciate what you're doing, and thank you.
Yeah, you all take care, all right?
Take care. Yeah. I said Tom and G at the
Folks,
oh.
hope you enjoyed this episode. You want to watch another? Here. You want to subscribe? Over here. See you next week.
Bye, Tommy. Don't do drugs, y'all. It's not just if you wanna quit, also replacement slushy. Go for some slushies, bro. Get that sugar in your system. Or butterbeer, cream, finds that addictive kind of treat. But still stay healthy. Please don't keep eating it like freaking back to back to back to back to back. But slushies, that's what I'm addicted to. I have a problem.